This is the MagicWordPodcast.com.
Hello, this is Scott Wells for the MagicWordPodcast.com. Well, the new year has begun, and hopefully I'm starting to get my voice back. It was quite a season over there during the holiday season, and with all the children I had sitting on Santa's lap, I think I caught a little bug, or perhaps it might have just been some allergies. Anyhow, my voice wasn't at its best, and still I don't think I'm at 100% yet, but still working on it and feeling a lot better. Thank you, though, for all of you who have asked about my health condition. Everything is fine. My heart's ticking just the way it should, and everything is going along fine. Thank you very much for your concerns and for talking with me about this. That means a lot, knowing that you actually care. This week, I want to welcome our newest friends of the Magic Word. That would be Robert Norn Bichon. I know him as Norn, and as I recall, I believe he's from up in the Scotland area. Actually, I think he's from Orkney originally, up in those in the islands, Orkney Island area, whom I've known for a long time, and he has joined us. It was good seeing him at FISM earlier this year. Also, we welcome Dan Ray and John Montes. Thank you guys very much for becoming friends of the Magic Word. We appreciate your pledges and your donations. That certainly helps as we begin the new year. We have had some people who have fallen off of the pledges and donations for a variety of reasons. So trying to build that up is going to take some work here this year to get back to where we were. And also, speaking of which, as far as trying to build our pod letter subscription base, we've had a few people who have unsubscribed to that. Hopefully I can continue to give you good content that you enjoy. Please make sure whenever you go to themagicwordpodcast.com that there's a little pop-up that comes up that it says subscribe to a pod letter. Please do. We'd like to have you as one of our subscribers to keep you up to date on what's going on from week to week, and also about contests and suggestions from the archives, etc. Well, this week, as we again continue to get closer to our number 950th episode, which is going to be quite a milestone for the Magic Word Podcast, which is going to be coming up next week. This week, we're going to be featuring Rachel Wax. I was at the Tricks Convention earlier this, I'd say earlier this year. It was last year in November, and that was just a great convention, and Shempei was voted most valuable performer at that convention. It was just great. Danny DeOrtiz and Chad Long and Rachel Wax and so many other people who were there. It was great. And speaking of Rachel Wax, I finally got a chance to sit down and chat with her. I've been talking with her from time to time and thinking, well, when I get to New York City and actually have some time that we can actually get together, we will. And fortunately, it worked out there when we were in Charlotte, North Carolina. So this week we're going to speak a little bit about some things that may or may not be of interest to you. I thought it was kind of interesting. She started out actually in fashion when she moved from Chicago to New York City. And so I just find that fascinating, and I wanted to ask her a few questions about the fashion industry and the garment district, etc. And so bear with us, even though it's not necessarily magic. It is something that might interest some of you. It certainly did me. And then we move on then to talking about magic, where she had been on Penn Teller Fool Us, and she, of course, has been working at SpeakEasy Magik with Todd Robbins and David Corsaro and several other people over there, Peter Samuelson, etc. And also she works at the Slipper Room, but she's going to talk about all of that here this week. So please welcome my guest. I'm so excited to introduce my guest, Ms. Rachel Wax, here on The Magic Word. One of the people I've been wanting to talk with for a while has been around on the magic scene and making a big splash in New York City. She's from Chicago then originally, and then going out to New York, where she's making her way in not just magic but fashion industry then also, and has been working at the SpeakEasy Magik as well as the Slipper Room and a few other places, Monday Night Magic, seen her perhaps on Masters of Illusion, a few other television shows, Penn Teller Fool Us, I believe, then as well, and someone, again, I've been wanting to chat with for a while, and I am pleased as punch today to chat with Rachel Wax. Hello, Rachel. How are you?
Hello. Thanks for having me.
So good to have you here then, too. Fashion, that fascinates me, first of all. So did you see yourself as an artist whenever you were a child then to begin with? Or
I was always an artist. I always did different types of visual art, and I wanted to be a fashion designer, and I went to school for it. That's what brought me to New York. I went to college there, and then I did work in fashion for a bunch of years, and I never saw myself as doing magic full time, and it kind of kept growing, and eventually I had to sort of jump the fashion ship.
Do something else, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think there are a lot of people probably that go to New York, they want to get into fashion, or they want to be on Broadway, or have something to do with theater, or of some site or another, whether they're building props or dancing or singing or whatever kind of a thing. That part never really necessarily interested you as far as hitting the stage or the boards or anything like that?
No, not really. I never was interested in acting. I'm certainly not a singer or a dancer.
Yeah.
I never had any of those skills, and I loved performing magic. I just never really saw it as a career for myself. But I quit fashion about 3 years ago to go full-time magic.
Okay, so you kind of left all that then behind you.
I left all of it behind.
Now, were you actually just sketching things? I mean, from the standpoint of like designing fashion, like dresses and things, I imagine, or were you actually sewing and things? Or?
So at some of my internships, I did some sewing. At some of the higher end brands, you do a little bit of sewing, but for the bulk of my work, it was sketching, sending measurements to factories to get samples, fitting those samples, more that type of thing.
And working for like a large company? I mean,
I worked for a few big companies
like
over
Neiman
the
Marcus
years.
or kind of a thing, or you mean what type of a?
Probably the most recognizable one to folks might be New York and Company, which is mostly gone now. They just got hit during COVID really hard, but I loved that job, and getting to pick out all the details for a garment and then getting to see it in store after is very cool. That was, and designing clothes is sort of like a puzzle, the same way designing a single trick or an act might be, is I know what the end goal is, what are the pieces I need to get there, and how do they fit together.
Right, so you kind of have a general concept of some sort of piece in your mind, I guess, what that's going to look like. Now, another thing is, the direction of fashion. I'm sorry, for people who are listening to this about magic, they're thinking, okay, when are we going to get to talking about magic? We'll get there. But I'm really fascinated by this because fashion changes, and there's a lot of faddish fashions that happen overnight, or that happen in our zeitgeist that are here today, gone tomorrow, quite literally. So in that case, how do you keep up with it? Are people saying things to you, so we want to have you to think about this? Or do you...
The way that works is there are entire companies that do trend forecasting. They do it based on previous trends. They do it based on the economy. They do it based on all sorts of things. And it's everything from color to fabric to shape to styling.
Really?
And then the high-end companies will do sort of top-line designs that hit the runways. And then all of those other mid-level companies will copy as close as they can to those high-end designs. So the trend really, it feels quick, but the overall cycle is, sometimes a year.
Is that really something that you worry about as far as getting ripped off? Somebody comes with an idea and it gets to be popular, and then of getting cheaper knockoffs?
I don't do it anymore, so I never really, and I was, at those larger companies, you are doing a lot of the knocking off. And it's such a big world, so it's not really... You got to let it go. Everything's going to get knocked off in fashion constantly. So there's sort of no use in being upset over it.
How much of the industry would you say is actually overseas versus in the U.S.?
Almost all of it's overseas. Nothing is made here.
So everything's designed here, then you send it overseas and they make it there and piecework and bring it back.
And even and I don't know what it is, there's a certain percentage of it that has to be made in a certain country for you to say it's made in a certain country. When you get a bag and it's very expensive and it says made in Italy, maybe just the hardware was made in Italy and the rest of it was in China. There's a lot of laws around it, but most everything is made in China. There's a lot in Bangladesh. But China's the big one. They have entire towns that are built for production of fashion.
Wow. Wow. Did you ever get to go over to some
I never got to go. By the time I got into fashion, I think the industry was already declining financially a little bit.
Okay.
You know, a lot of my bosses would tell me about trips they would take to China and to all sorts of places to see factories, and nobody my age was ever doing that. It had already become...
Why had that gone down? You say that it's kind of on the decline then? I mean, people, I think, are they not fashionable anymore? I mean,
No, I just think that... you know, the economy changes also because of people's appetites change so quickly, and trend cycles have gotten tighter and tighter and tighter. And it's, you know, if you have, you know, a shirt that does really well and you're going to keep producing that shirt for a few years, you can buy a lot of that fabric, or you can, you know, you spend less money when it's done over a longer period of time, but when you're trying to keep up with trends and you're making new samples constantly and competing with every other brand that's trying to do the same thing, and you're trying to keep your prices lower, and, you know, it becomes more and more expensive to create fashion, and people want to spend less and less. I mean, look at when you look at prices on Amazon for things. In your brain, you're going, I could get this for less.
Well, isn't it like Temu or something?
Yep, Temu, Shein is the big fashion one. Everything is effectively made to order on Shein, and they just do it in like a day and
cheap.
A half.
Yeah.
And you'll get it in, and it'll have the pant legs on backwards.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, it's a mess.
But you don't pay much for it.
You don't pay much for it, and they're just banking on people never returning anything. And because everything feels so cheap, people buy large quantities of clothing from them. But yeah.
They're like disposable clothes almost.
It is disposable clothing. None of that lasts, you know, a couple washes maybe.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
One of the things that I'm going to move on here now is just about the fashion trends also that I recall years ago of hearing about how that dresses lengths would reflect the Wall Street stock market going up and down. You know, like many dresses that the stock was high, and then we had longer dresses, the stock would go down. Is there anything like that you, I mean, have you heard or anything that kind of sets trends, or I mean, not sets,
you know, I think that the economy does affect it, and there are times where people want to do, you know, now what's very big is called quiet luxury, where, you know, people will wear very expensive but very simple clothing. And there are times where things are flashier, and, you know, those trends come and go. And also politics affects fashion a lot. You know, there are trends that read very, you know, in one direction or another. And, you know, the way women have been liberated and then things taken away from them have affected fashion over the years. You know, how much skin you're showing, how, you know, I think all of that comes into effect on a season-to-season basis.
I've noticed that, I don't know if it's still a trend or not, but a lot of longer sleeve, women wear longer sleeves that have got holes in it. They can like have their, I mean, longer sleeves like covering their knuckles, you know, and like got a hole that they can kind of, almost like a glove or something. Is that like still a popular thing, or is that kind of come and gone?
I think that's kind of big in active wear.
Okay.
Because it just keeps your hands warm.
Okay.
If you're working out outside. I'm not sure that there's any depth past that trend. You know, and also it looks sort of similar to arm warmers, which were sort of big in the early 2000s. And those trends are always coming back around. And, you know, everything is sort of an iteration of something else. Yeah, and it's a pendulum. Absolutely.
Wow. Now, swinging pendulum, speaking of something completely different, I want to talk about Chicago and growing up, like seeing Magic. Now, you were really on the tail end, I'm sure, of the Magic bar scene. I mean, like Shulian's was long gone by the time.
It was long gone, and the lounge wasn't there.
Yeah.
And it actually I wasn't really involved in Magic in a community sense in Chicago.
But your dad was a magician too, is that right?
Yes, so my dad's a magician. He, you know, and he does it effectively full-time now. He's a retired doctor. Okay. So he was never doing it full-time
in Chicago or New York?
In Chicago. Okay. My parents are in Chicago. I was never an adult in Chicago. You know, I grew up there, but then I moved to New York when I turned 18. So I was never really a part of any quote-unquote scene there. You know, I knew the guys at the Magic Ink shop. You know, I know Pedro, and we would go hang out there sometimes, and we would go to lectures, but the community, it was a low point, I think, as far as how big the community was.
You didn't know Bill
there
Malone
at
or
that
kind of
time.
hang out with any of that.
Exactly. There was nobody I was hanging out with. And it was really a special thing between me and my dad. You know, he taught me and we would do it together. And I wasn't really that, outside of going to conventions, I wasn't that interested in hanging out with other magicians. I was excited to do it with my dad when he had a free moment, you know?
So it was really more of a daughter-dad kind of a thing that kind of got you
Absolutely.
into that, I guess. So did you have a magic kit?
There was no magic kit.
Okay.
Although when I was in college, I did work for Marvin's selling magic kits at FAO Schwartz, but there was no magic kit. But I would watch my dad, and so he would go, here, watch this DVD, read this book. He would show me a few things, and I was just, everything was exciting because everything was new, and because I didn't know any other magicians personally, I wasn't really like comparing myself to other people. You know, that's such a big part of art. When you're an adult, you're constantly grading yourself in different ways against this person's doing better than me, this person. And I had none of that at the time. Yeah. Especially because it was just a hobby. Yeah. You know, I wasn't going, how am I going to make money doing this? How am I going to build my set? I was just like, this is fun. These tricks are so fun. I do them for my friends at school, and I loved it, but I was also very focused on my art career, and I wanted to be a fashion designer. So that really took precedence at the time. So it was purely fun and joy.
Was there anybody really in the fashion industry that also inspired you? Had magic as a hobby or anything? No, you were the only person.
Totally separate.
So did you ever do any magic like?
I would do magic like when we'd have like an office party or something, and like when I was doing.
You must have thought that was cool.
Oh, totally! It was totally cool, and I also had, for a bunch of years there, I started doing SpeakEasy in early 2019. And I still worked in fashion for a handful of years after that. So there were a few years there where I was working a 9 to 6 in fashion, and then, getting in a taxi and doing my makeup in the car and going to do SpeakEasy or the Slipper Room or a gig, and then getting home at midnight or 1 a.m. and then...
Were you making more money doing magic?
Well, I started to, or I started to make about the same, and that's when I was able to make the jump, because I was very worried about the financials of that. Yeah. You can ask David Corsaro. I called him crying, going, how am I going to do this? But for a while, I was really doing both, and it was just, I was getting to a point where, the fashion the fashion industry doesn't have that much upward mobility career-wise. I mean, it's
they churn through people pretty quick.
They churn through people, and people who are high up stay forever, and there aren't good benefit. Like it's just not what it used to be career trajectory-wise. It felt very stagnant. And then as far as magic, I was getting a lot better at performing because I was doing it so frequently, but I didn't have the time to be working on my repertoire. I didn't have the time to write new material or learn, I wasn't able, because I literally didn't have the hours in the day to be growing creatively as a magician. And leaving fashion allowed me to do that.
You realized you were going to have to kind of do one or the other and devote time.
Kind of. I was sort of like, something bad is going to happen to my body, I think, if I...
You can't continue like this.
No.
Even in your young age.
Literally, I didn't have time to do laundry or get groceries. I was really just working all the time. My apartment was a mess. It was,
Now, did you start to get more, you say you weren't in the Chicago magic scene, but obviously you had alluded to David Corsaro, who's a great magician, very funny, and very creative, and has fooled Penn and Teller.
Yes, he has.
And so I assume he was like a mentor, or is like a mentor or friend of yours then?
He's a very, very good friend. I met David, I guess it was through SpeakEasy. No, it may have been through some other, it may have been through the Magnets, which is a group in New York. And he's just...
I've heard of the Magnets.
Yeah, the Magnets is awesome. It's a group we meet every Wednesday, and it's open to everybody. There's no
Was that kind of like the Saturday morning thing that Harry Lorraine used to do years ago, like at the deli or something?
It's, you know what? It's a very casual hang. Yeah. And it's, the whole point of it is that everybody and anybody is welcome. It doesn't matter if you've been doing magic for one day,
and whoever
or
happens
for
to be
your
in
whole
town
life.
then also, so you probably got a lot of people
Absolutely.
coming and going.
People swing in, and it's a really good time. It's at a restaurant. It's very, there's no fee. There's no, pay to entry. But yeah, right. So I must have met David through that, and he's just been such a wonderful friend through the years.
Well, that's why I wonder if he was mentor, because I know you do a lot of comedy as well, and so I can see some kind of parallels, I guess, a little bit, and I'm sure he kind of helped you with.
I think most of my comedy chops came from my dad.
Okay.
We have very similar senses of humor and very similar mannerisms and very similar sensibility, and a lot of my sort of natural inclination towards comedy came very early.
Was that because he was directing you, or he had given you some ideas, or
we
it's
would just like
naturally?
We're always joking around. We're always like going, oh, what if you said this? What if you did that? We're always sort of just, just having, when you have that casual back and forth and you end up sort of building a persona out of that.
Great to have that parental relationship.
Totally.
Not everybody has.
No, of course. I feel so lucky. And of course, so many people in New York have been mentors to me, but I look up to a lot of people. It hasn't really just been like one person. Eli Bosnick's been a huge mentor to me, and there's so many people that I feel like really get to look up to.
Peter Samuelson probably is another guy who I know works there also at SpeakEasy.
I don't see him that much.
Oh, you don't? Really?
He lives a little bit further out.
Interesting. So you guys are not all working the same kind of shifts, I guess, or
no? It's sort of a different setup. Some people work a lot. I'm there every night, 8 shows a week right now, which is a lot. I love Peter, but I feel like I don't see him a ton.
Is Todd there? I mean,
Todd's there every night. So Todd's hosting, so he's there every single show. Love Todd.
Todd Robbins, by the way, for people.
Yes, Todd Robbins. If you don't know, and you should.
Yes, you should. One of my favorite episodes of the podcast I've done over the years. Go back and look at it in the archives. We had a great chat.
Fantastic. He's really just, a mentor to so many people.
Yep, been around for a while. He's started and been involved in so many different aspects of magic throughout.
Absolutely. He's a pillar of the community. In so many ways.
And I don't suppose that you had seen his play Dead years ago.
I didn't get to see
That's
Play
before
Dead.
you moved to New York, I'm
It was
sure.
way before, and it makes me very sad that I'll never really get to see it.
That's kind of one and done.
Totally. But that's his legacy. It's amazing.
Sure. Yeah. Well, in SpeakEasy Magik, for those people who haven't attended, it's not like something where it's kind of an ongoing type of thing, like I think Magic Moments that Bill Malone had down in Florida or whatever, where you kind of have people who are strolling to your table. You actually have a sit down. You have like a time period.
Yeah,
it's like a show, kind of like Chicago Magic Lounge, I guess.
It's very different from the lounge.
Is it?
In its structure.
I've not been to there yet. That's why I'm asking.
It's very, very different from the lounge, and I've done I love the lounge, but it's a very different. The evening is structured very differently. I don't want to give away too much, just because part of the fun of it is
surprise, mystery.
I mean, there's just so many times you're surprised and delighted throughout the evening. It's produced really well, so it's just a really great experience front to back.
Yeah.
But it is semi-formal, I would say, in that it's rowdier than you would consider a formal magic show.
So they encourage that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
to a degree.
It's a lot of audience engagement. It's a lot of audience management. Todd really sets the tone for the show. You get to see some beautiful stage magic. You get to see some amazing close-up magic. Everyone really brings their own persona to the show, which is what makes it so special, is that we've all worked together and we sort of bounce off of each other in different ways and bring very different vibes to what we do. And it's a really special night out, and it's amazing. I mean, it's been running for 7 years. It started as like a one-off, and then maybe there's a second one, and then 2 a month, and now we're up to 8 shows a week, which is really, really cool that we've gotten to sort of. How
does a close-up work? I mean, do they actually have a table that people crowd around, or is it like a camera on there?
No, there are tables. It's real. It's incredibly intimate.
Okay, so it's not like, again, Chicago Magic Lounge where people are going to the tables and then they have a stage show. It's two separate.
So we are going to the tables, but it's not a casual cocktail situation. Okay. Like you're getting it's a slightly bigger formal table, and there's a bunch of them, and it's a very it's a real speakeasy vibe.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's like a set show as opposed to.
Oh, yes. It's very much a set show. It is a structured evening. Everything you see is planned ahead.
So when people go in and want to buy a ticket to that, do they have like seatings for that then? Or you have to go for the whole evening?
No. It's the show runs about an hour 45 to 2 hours.
Includes dinner, or
No, it includes nothing. It includes the magic, obviously.
But you get a bar. Obviously.
Yes, there's a bar. They have a lot of like really lovely specialty cocktails that are sort of on brand, and the whole space is sort of a surprise. There's just like a lot of really interesting pieces to the experience of it and to the production value of it. And yeah, so the shows are at, you can look online, they're at different times, but yes, it's a seated time, and there's 2 on Fridays, 2 on Saturdays, and then we're dark Mondays.
But then
every other night has one show.
Okay, but Mondays is the only night of the week that you're dark, and then it's open from Tuesday to Sunday the rest of the week then? Okay, but not for matinees or anything like that?
No matinees, no matinees.
Okay. And I'm assuming because it is a speakeasy, it's 21 or over.
It is 21 and over,
kids
yes.
Can't come. Yeah.
Rather strictly, it is 21 and over.
I would imagine it's enforced pretty
yes, they have
strictly.
to, any place that serves alcohol, they have to be, careful about that.
Yeah. Now, the slipper room is completely different from that.
Slipper room is very different.
Tell me about that.
So the slipper room is a fascinating place. It's this little tiny jewel box of a room. It's on the Lower East Side. It's this very cool neighborhood. It's been running, I believe, 25 years.
Wow.
Although don't quote me on that. It was started by this wonderful couple, James and Camille Habacker, and they built it themselves. I mean, they built the room. They polished the wood. They put up the exit signs. They did it. And it's a burlesque club. It's a burlesque club that's a variety show every night. So they have very classic burlesque. They have some really kooky neo-burlesque. They'll have aerialists. They'll have sideshow folks. They'll have jugglers. They'll have magicians.
Wow.
And it is like one of my favorite places to perform. It's just such a fun audience. It's also a very inexpensive place. They've sort of kept the prices down, and it feels, you come in and it's like kind of cheap drinks and in plastic wine glasses, but the room is beautiful. And also you'll see the best aerialists. I mean, you'll see the best. It's a very, very cool, very special venue.
And so are you doing some of the same types of magic there, or do you experiment with things there?
I experiment. That is stage. I'm doing close up at SpeakEasy. So while my character is the same, I'm doing entirely different tricks at the venues, because it's a small stage, but it is stage at the Slipper Room. And I don't do stage at SpeakEasy. So I get to really, flex both of those muscles.
Seems like I remember seeing you doing something with iPods, or hearing. What am I trying to say? Just
oh yes, phone chargers.
Phone chargers or something. Yeah.
Yes, I do, which you'll see tonight actually at the convention. Okay. I do a Professor's Nightmare routine with phone chargers that I developed a few years ago, and just.
Was that what you were taking on Penn Teller? Was that where I saw that?
No, I did something with a money gun on Penn Teller.
The money gun.
I did a Build to Impossible location on Penn Teller, which was really such a fun experience.
What was that like?
You know what? It was really stressful.
Okay.
Well, just
leading up to it, or while you were there, or
leading up to it. They run such a tight ship that once you're there, it's all pretty smooth. Leading up to it was just very nerve-wracking. I'm not I don't do a lot of TV spots, and I wanted to do really well, and I didn't know what to expect. So I was very nervous, and trying to make sure I did a great job. And they're telling you, this doesn't work great for TV, or this does, and they're there to help you. It was incredibly stressful. But once I was there, it was so fun. And I was actually there in person, and the producers are there, and Penn and Teller are there, and everyone is so nice, and it's all run so professionally, and everything is like prepared for you. And it was a very cool, special experience. And yeah, it was awesome. And, you get a great clip out of it. You get quotes from Penn and Teller, which is so lovely. And I didn't expect to fool them. I didn't fool them, and I wasn't expecting to fool them. It wasn't really my goal. What I wanted to use it as was a showcase for myself. Everybody has sort of different goals when they go on the show. But I really wanted to showcase my personality, and I wanted to showcase being funny and do a trick that felt fun. And when I didn't fool them, if you've watched the clip, I have a very sort of cocky response to them because I was like, yeah, duh. Like, it wasn't even really my intention to fool them. It would have been a huge surprise if I had. So
you would have been the most. You would have fallen on the stage. What?
I would have been like, "You serious? Like, it's just this, guys."
Yeah.
But it was really fun, and since then I've performed close up for Teller at SpeakEasy, which was way more nerve-wracking.
I'm sure because he and Todd are such good friends that he probably come in there from time to time whenever he's in New York.
Teller's friends with a few people who do SpeakEasy. He's really close with Matt Holtzclaw. He's close with David Corsaro. He's such a lovely guy. My favorite quote from him was actually he saw me at Magic Live, not this summer, but last summer, and something happened, the speaker was too loud or something, and I said to him, oh, sorry if that was too loud, haha, it's just my voice. He goes, no, it was the speaker. I mean, your voice is sharp like a knife, but it was the speaker. And I was like, thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. So leading up to that, you said it was stressful. Why was it stressful? Because you were trying to figure out what it is you were going to do, or just thinking, hey, I'm going to be on TV, these guys are first time? Or
I think it's just, I'm very comfortable performing live. Mm-hmm. I think performing on television is such a different muscle. Misdirection is different, and not knowing what's going to flash is different. Not knowing what's going to play is different. Not really having an audience to play off of was really scary for me, and it was just very out of my comfort zone. Once I got up there, I was pretty comfortable, but leading up to it, it just felt very unknown to me. And also I wanted to do well. It's if you have a bad show, you go, well, it happens to everybody.
Right.
You have a bad clip on television, it's there forever. It's a different type of pressure.
That's true. You have some things under your control, but in talking, in most times, like if you're doing a morning talk show or something like that, you can talk with them beforehand saying, okay, which cameras we're going to be using or whatever. When you're talking on Penn and Teller, though, do you have any kind of command of that, of saying, which cameras am I going to be?
Yes, you definitely, if I remember correctly, there was some of that, and there are magicians on staff there who are, they want you to look good.
Sure.
I know there are some TV situations where it's in their best interest potentially for you to not do well for TV purposes, and I just don't really have any interest in partaking in that. Part of why I said yes to Fool Us and why I felt good about it was that they want you to look good.
Yeah.
The show is, even if you don't fool them, they still want you to look good. They want the episode to be good. Mm-hmm. I knew that if it failed catastrophically, they just wouldn't air it, which, was a comfort to me. But you also, when you do television and it gets posted online, you also open yourself up to a lot of criticism. People are very bold in their YouTube comments when...
Yeah, you got a lot of trolls out there.
Yeah, which, you learn how to not let that stuff get to you, but...
How do you do that? I mean, you were in a public limelight, and you have been on television and done a lot of things where people can cast stones and aspersions at you. So, and I say that because I know that some people have problems who are listening to the podcast about dealing with some of these kinds of things and choose not to do that, or it really gets them, or they get depressed, or whatever. How do you deal with...
There are certain things that in the past have hit a nerve where I go, oh my God, I can't believe I hurt that person's feelings in a real way.
That wasn't your intent, obviously.
Of course not. And that's why, and I had a conversation with a friend the other day who it happened to, and I said, look, you're not a bad person. It didn't come from a nasty place. It happens. And when you spend so much of your life riffing in front of a large audience, it's bound to happen. Mm-hmm. When it comes to trolls and or people who just go, I don't like this for whatever reason, my feeling on that is I don't sand myself down, and I have a very specific point of view, and I have a very specific character, and it's simply not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a good thing. Nobody is everybody's cup of tea.
That's absolutely true.
It's a losing game.
Right.
There are people whose opinions I really care about, who if they didn't like my act, I think I would take personally and it would make me feel sad. Mm-hmm. But a rando on YouTube writing some nasty sexist comment, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to blow it up and show it at a convention on a screen, or I'm going to turn it into a joke. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because I'm sitting here... this is going to sound very goofy, but I think about this sometimes. I think about Taylor Swift, who's, a billionaire. She became a billionaire this year and had one of the biggest, music tours ever and has so many albums and all this stuff. I know lots of people who don't like her music. Do you think she's sitting around worrying about those people?
Good point.
Probably not.
Yeah.
She's making her art for, she's not even really my cup of tea, you know?
Right. Just moving forward, though.
But she's making art for her audience.
True.
And there are some people who go like, oh, are you afraid sometimes like men are going to feel attacked by some of your stuff? And I'm like, Magik has been attacking women forever.
Yeah, give me a break. Yeah.
Yeah. And also like, you know, I don't make personal, you know, I don't comment on how people look. I don't comment on how they dressed. My character is sort of negative towards the patriarchy in general.
Yeah.
You know, it's, men, eye roll, as opposed to like, you know, I hate your beard, or, you know, I'm not doing, it's never meant to be a personal attack. It's more, it's in general. It's in general, and it's attack on specific behavior. And also it's mostly things that women wish they could say all the time. Like, that's why I make a big bit when somebody interrupts me, because women are interrupted constantly.
And mansplaining and that kind of thing.
Of course. And also, like, don't wink at me. You know what I mean? Like, I'll say that. A stranger, I'll just go, what are you doing? Don't wink at me. Your wife's right. Who is that for?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even, like, I've had plenty of times where I sit down at SpeakEasy and the man next to me will, you know, be laughing. You know, he'll put his hand on my back and I'll go, you actually don't have to touch me at this juncture, but thanks. And we wish we could say that all the time because it happens.
But your character allows you to do that.
My character allows me to do that. And I have no, like, it allows me to like say the things that we're all thinking always. And it's all those little tiny things that really grate on us.
Yeah.
You know, it's those little tiny talking down to you. And you know, sometimes I overreact to things because it all gets built up.
Well, I understand, Princess, when you talk down.
I'll end you, Scott Wells. I'll tweet about this. I'll get a Twitter and tweet about this. You know, but like, I know that means sometimes people aren't going to like it. And I'm just like, okay, great. There's plenty of people who do really well that I don't like. And that's good for them. They're laughing all the way to the bank. You know what I mean?
All the way to the bank. Exactly. Exactly. You can say what you want, you know, but just pay me. Spell my name right.
Yeah.
So your character versus your personality.
Yeah.
Do you feel they're aligned, or you think those are two different things? In other words, are you home thinking, okay, I'm going to write this character and I'm going to live it? I'm thinking of Pop Hayden, for an example.
Sure.
Pop had a completely different life, and then he created this legend, basically, which he lives now according to this. And so every decision he makes is based upon that character and legend. So, but does that just happen to be you and you walk on stage?
I think it's a facet of me.
Okay.
You know, she's obviously meaner than I am. I don't think.
But you can let yourself go there again. Kind of like Jesselneck, I guess. You know?
Yeah, right. Like you're kind of, horrible. But no, I'm just kidding. But you know, like there's parts of it are, you know, I do make certain decisions in character that fit the character, that are funny for the character, that I would never say in real life. But like, most people who play a character, that's a little bit a piece of you.
Okay.
Unless
has to be.
It has to be, right? Unless you are like really being an actor and you're really, really like so separate from yourself.
Right.
But, you know, when it's in character, there's a lot more she says or does. And also like I feel in my daily life that my feelings towards people are softer sometimes than when, you know, but a lot of the character is about establishing dominance, is about, you know, not dwindling down as a woman, which you're all of us are expected to do in different ways in different parts of life all the time. And it's funny because I see, you know, people say, oh, you know, you're so mean. And I go, I know, yeah, that's on purpose.
I know.
But I see male counterparts, I see male magicians and I see male comedians say much meaner things than I do and much more personally mean things than I do. And they're not considered as mean. But that tension I'm very aware of. And that double standard I'm very aware of. Right. And that's why I don't apologize for it and I don't back down about it.
Well, the reason I'm asking about that is because I know a lot of people who are listening to this also are trying to develop a character.
Yeah.
And I think a character is based upon your personal character and your life, and you should build on that.
Yeah.
Which sounds like, you know, what you have done.
Well, and I think a piece of that, and sorry to cut you off, but I actually think what you said just made me realize something. The audience can tell when you're being
authentic?
genuine. Yes, authentic. And which means that a character has to have some authenticity to it for an audience to connect with it.
Look at Nate Bargatze.
Exactly. Look at Nate Bargatze. I love Nate Bargatze.
Yeah.
You know,
as authentic as it can be, and that's just him.
Right, that's just him. And by the way, there are lots of performers who aren't in character at all, who are solely themselves in every way. There is no character aspect to it. But, you know, be what character you decide to be can come from all different places. It can come from, you know, things you genuinely like, things you know, look at Rob Zabrecki.
Okay.
You know,
love that guy.
Love that guy. Yeah. And I think he's such a fabulous example of character work.
Yep.
You know, he's not...
I can't believe he lives like that.
Right, but he doesn't really. I mean, you know what I mean? He's got that hilarious joke where he says something, you know, do you recognize me? And he's hiding
behind the curtain.
Oh my God, it's a classic Zabrecki joke. You know, he doesn't really spy on people through their windows.
Yeah.
You know that's a character bit.
Yeah.
He doesn't really, you know, drag scissors across his face in real life. However, you know, all of these things clearly come from interests he has. And that's why you can connect with him and find him authentic, is because you go, yeah, this guy probably really does think that joke is funny, or really does, he came up with it.
Particularly if you build into a character, then whatever you're doing, it's like, okay, well, that is, I'm invested in this guy, this gal. You know?
There are tricks that I think are great that, like, I could never pull off, and there are certain things that people go, are you afraid someone's going to copy that? And I'm like, I would love to see someone copy that.
So
like,
when you're doing, for an example, like the Professor's Nightmare with the charging cord.
Yeah.
That would be something that it's like, I think people are going to be able to rip that off.
It's already been ripped off. It's been sold and marketed 3 times in the past year and a half.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Did that bother you?
For like
first?
a day.
Okay.
It bothered me for like a day.
And you let it go.
You know, some of those people gave me credit, which, you know, whatever. But I guess I just sort of feel like, you know, it's not the trick that's that great.
Yeah.
It's what I bring to it.
And was that something that was developed as a result of your character? Because you use these all the time?
It was, right. And I just sort of, you know, I was coming up with all these funny jokes that would go with that, you know, and I was like, this is great. But even like, you know, I do this routine that's based on Devivier's cards in the bag.
Love that trick.
Love that trick. It's a wonderful trick. It's a great magician fooler. And a friend of mine one day was like, I really think like that trick would really fit you. And I was like, I don't know, because I don't think my character is coming in with like a satin bag.
Well, and you carry a purse on stage?
Well, so I've adapted it, and I do it at SpeakEasy. I do it, you know, 40 times a week. I do it in a borrowed purse.
Oh, that's interesting.
I borrow another woman's bag and I go through her bag and we go through it together and we make jokes about it. And oh my God, you seem like fun. We should have brunch. And, you know, it becomes sort of like a girl, a gal pal type of thing. And,
funny.
You know, just go like, oh my God, I'm on these meds too. Yeah, girl. You know, and it's but that's another facet of the character is not mean to women. It's oh, yes, queen. Like, you know, it's
I'm down with the strife with you too. Yeah.
We're in this together kind of vibe.
Yep.
And then the cards go in the bag. And I use a different method than Devivier does, just because it wasn't working in that environment. But but like, you know, people, oh, are you afraid someone's gonna steal that? I'm like, I would love to watch a male magician go through a woman. Like, do it.
I hadn't thought about that.
Do it.
I cannot imagine myself doing that. I have so much
fun doing it. Yeah. Like, you know, and there's a lot of precautions I take as far as like, I don't go, give me your bag. I go, for this next thing, I need to borrow a purse. I am going to touch all your stuff. And the bag has to be offered to me. You know, it is meant to be a consensual, you know what I mean? And then we go through it. And if they seem like they're a little uncomfortable, I'll leave most of their stuff in there. If they're really into it and playing along, you know, you have to constantly be making those calculations. And
there's a lot of improv in that, I imagine.
There's a lot of improv. I see lots of kooky stuff.
Like what?
The other night, a woman had no wallet, no phone, no keys, but 4 joints.
Just get your priorities right there.
Gotta get your priorities right. Another favorite that had the whole table. Like, I don't even think I did a third trick because we spent so much time hysterical about her 99-cent store pregnancy test. And I was like, I'll check it for you. Like, it's not, you know. And I also have to have lines for when people have boring bags, because sometimes it's just their going out bag and whatever. the best thing was I pulled out.
There are no condoms in this one? Yeah.
Right? And I've had a lot of magicians say, oh, you should plant stuff in their bags. Yeah. And I've thought a lot about that, and I don't do it for a couple of reasons.
It'd be embarrassing to the person, perhaps.
It is, and that's not the point of the trick.
Yeah.
It's not the point to...
Not trying to make fun of the person.
And we're laughing at it together, and that becomes a laughing at you when it's like, also, it's very obvious. Yeah, she obviously doesn't have... Because I tried it for a bit. There was something, I make it appear in a different way, but I tried for a while to be like, oh my God, what's this? And I had a woman once go, yeah, that's obviously not mine. And it just like totally... It blows
the whole thing.
It took the air out of it.
All air,
The fun of it is how genuine it is.
Good point.
And again, if somebody seems like they're a little nervous about it, or if it's coworkers, like I'll leave, if they have tampons or something, I'll leave it in there. Or sometimes I'll go, are you shy about, feminine products? And if they go, no, I'll do 5 minutes with a panty liner. But, even like the other day I had, and I have jokes for when I take their phone out of the bag, I tilt it so hopefully the screen comes up. And, I have jokes about certain photos they have. If it's a pet, I go, oh my God, everybody look. I try to make sure that they still feel like I'm on your side, and if there's a makeup product, I'll go, oh my God, do you like this? Like, I haven't tried it yet. Even just those little tiny moments to make sure they know that like, I'm not doing this flippantly.
Yep, I'm genuine.
And I see when people do watch steals or borrow a ring, and I see them make jokes at the expense of that person's very valuable personal property.
Right, very personal.
Even when someone gives me their bag, the first thing I do is compliment the bag. Oh my God, this is so chic. I love this. Oh my God, I never saw it in this color. They've given me something that
means something to them that they took time to...
And even if it doesn't mean that much to them, they spent money on it, it's their personal property, I compliment the bag. That's the first thing I do. Oh my God, thank you so much. This is gorgeous.
Good.
I had somebody once borrow my engagement ring for a ring flight, and the first thing he said was like, oh, this almost looks real. And it's like, that's my dead grandma's diamond. You're such a bad guy. Like, it's...
That's so funny.
And costs more than you could ever... Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just such a...
Made that guy feel so small.
Yeah, and then I didn't say all that because I wanted to let him get through his routine, and I wasn't, a heckler's not nice. But in my head, I'm sitting there going, awesome. This makes you look awful. And then he dropped it.
No way.
And then goes, oh, I guess, made some dumb jokes. And I was like, I just gave you my engagement ring.
Yeah.
Like, that trust has to be there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm very careful with the bag. If there's stuff I move stuff out of the way on the table. I don't want their bag. I don't want their bag to get messed up. And And I believe I have built that trust because people are handing me their Birkins. People are going, oh my God, here's my $10,000 purse. And I'm like, yes, queen.
Yeah.
But I am being cognizant of that, and I am being careful of that. And but I think it's something that my character gets away with because of the rapport that I'm building with the audience. And I took a trick that was already a great trick, but maybe didn't quite fit my character. And I made adjustments, and it's changed.
Now it's totally you.
It's totally me, and it changes over time. And I also do a thing with, I don't have to explain the whole routine, but there's something that I make appear earlier. It's a very cute drink floaty. Okay. It's a flamingo, and I make a man blow it up, and it's goofy, and there's some play-by-play there. And when I give her back the bag, I go, don't forget your stuff. Oh, and here, take this too for when you're drinking in the pool. And I give them the drink floaty.
Okay.
And they were like, oh my God, it's so cute. It's it cost me very little.
Pennies, yeah.
Right. But I've now given them a gift that
And an experience.
But it feels like a token of appreciation for letting me go through their stuff.
It's more than just a tchotchke.
It's more than just a tchotchke. And I see people leave with them, and they take them home. And, it's a goofy thing, but okay, here's a souvenir. As it's a thank you.
Yeah.
And that's sort of become like a little signature piece in my act in the close-up world, which is really fun. But yeah, I think like developing material is just...
Well, and you've got to take personal pride not only in what you have created, but then also a little bit of a fear that, as you say, someone's going to be stealing that. I was just thinking about Nick DeFott, for an example, who remember the first time I saw him and he was doing that gag with the hearing aid. I got got this coin behind you.
So great.
Wait a minute.
And then he yells into it.
Yeah, and he starts talking. He said, "Oh, you can't hear that probably." Yeah, but he was just saying, if anybody's going to steal that gag, I'll come after you with a baseball bat. And I thought, good. And
and look, I don't want people to steal my stuff.
Yeah.
It's happened a few times.
But sometimes they're like an easy gag that you thought of, and then everybody just all of a sudden it's
and I have no problem reaching out to somebody and being like, hey, that was my, I don't want to have a big public argument about it, but I have no problem being like, hey, like that was mine. And, but it's funny. I take so much pride in what I do outside of every individual gag. Mm-hmm. No one's booking me because of one specific trick. No one's booking me because of one specific gag. They're booking me for me.
For you.
And I think I make those, I had the other night a woman had come back to SpeakEasy and she goes, oh my God, I didn't see you tonight, but I saw you last time and we touched our engagement rings together and now I'm married. And it was just I didn't remember that. I must have gone oh, love your ring. We have to touch them. Whatever that is. But she remembered that, months later. And
you never know, do you? The little ripples that you
those little, and I think the most important thing, and that I take a lot of pride in, is being present with the audience, is not slipping into autopilot, is to...
Wow, that's one of the most impressive things I've heard anybody say in a long time. You be very present with your audience.
They can feel it.
Sure.
They can feel it.
Of course they can.
And that's how all my favorite jokes were not from sitting in a room and writing. They were from
the moment.
Genuine moments, and then I try to recreate those moments later. But
it's hard to do.
People can
you record
feel
your shows?
That. I record a lot of my stuff. Just, if the slip room I recorded and I try to...
On your phone?
Yeah. And I just try to go back. They're not good videos. They're just for me. But,
sure.
I take a lot of pride in what I do as a whole, less so in the individual pieces. And I think all of my tricks are very signature to me. And again, it would make me very, very sad for things to be stolen. But I also think that my cup is very full. Mm-hmm. And I don't make my money selling magic. And there are some people who do, and that's a very different thing.
Well, there are also a lot of people who are out there, let's say, who are recording shows who are not magicians. It's like they think they're doing you a favor by saying, hey, I'll help promote your show because I'm going to put this on my TikTok or whatever.
And I don't love that. Because,
no, exactly.
I don't really post videos of my magic as far as, I have a couple things on YouTube, and I have some, videos that I keep on unlisted for if a client needs to see video or something. But what's fun about my act is how surprising and abrasive my character is. And once it's online, the air has been taken out of it.
Oh, that's a good point, because you want them to be surprised and a little bit shocked. It's like, oh,
right. That's
she said
what's
that.
Fun is I come out and they go, oh my God, did she really just say that? And I'm right, because I have simply no boundaries when I'm on stage, But and again, those moments are so personal with that audience. And I think that's why I haven't really been drawn to TV magic so much. And I really admire people who do. But I really struggled even with Zoom magic.
Yeah.
I did not do well with that during COVID. And I have so much admiration for people who...
Like Carissa. I mean, look at what...
Oh my God. Carissa Carissa can take anything and just turn it into an explosion of fun. But I really struggled with Zoom magic. And TV magic makes me very nervous. And I work off the cuff so much. I have my script, but I like to be able to riff. And, if you say the wrong thing, it's there forever. And
well, that's a very good point. And sometimes that you say something, it's like, I'm not going to say that again. Or
right, of course. You can iterate when it's live. And the other thing about other people filming your stuff is I'm more sad for them in that moment where I'm going, you're not enjoying this.
No.
First of all, you're never going to rewatch that video. It's like when you videotape fireworks. You're never going to watch that video. It's become our second nature to go, oh, I like this. Let me take my phone out.
Isn't it like in concerts or something?
Totally. And I find myself taking photos of stuff that I'm like, why am I going to delete that tomorrow? I don't need a photo to remember this meal. It's become our second nature, which is sort of sad. But when it's a live show, I really encourage people to just put your phone down.
Yeah.
It's fine if you want to take pictures or a couple clips or whatever, but sitting there and recording long stretches, you're not experiencing this show. You're not. you're worried about your content.
I know that some magicians, let's say in Las Vegas, for example, will say, okay, for the next first 5-10 minutes, you can record and do whatever you want, take pictures to put on Instagram or tweet it out or whatever you want to do. And after 10 minutes, put them away and enjoy the show.
I love that. I think that's great. Or if there's...
So it's kind of the best of both worlds. You can do both.
I think that's one. And you want people to post about it and go, oh my God, I saw so-and-so. And I'm actually fine with photos. I think photos I think that's great. I just, especially with magic, you need to be following the plot when you're watching, and you want to
Isn't that true?
Be taken by surprise, and you're going to miss that when you're worried about your phone video that you will never watch and nobody else will ever watch. You know what I mean? Who is that for?
That's right. I mean, you're having fun in the moment and you're thinking, well, other people will enjoy, I want them to enjoy this moment with me. But
we're having fun together is the whole point.
Right, exactly. But they're kind of missing that moment because I think that magic is made up of moments. That's what magic is. And you can't create that in a bottle by posting that, I think, over on TikTok and hoping everybody else would. Because you're there. It's just the atmosphere, the ambiance.
It's the energy. It's the energy.
That's
and
the word.
Even, I can come back from a table at SpeakEasy and I'll go, oh my God, that was the best table all month. We were just I felt like we were all going insane together and da-da-da, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And if somebody goes, oh, what happened? And you're like, the retelling is not funny. The retelling is so lame, but you have it was funny even at the Mystify convention in Vegas this past year. It was so fun. I got an award from Mac King, and he presented it to me on stage, and I don't even know what happened, but we ended up just riffing and laughing, and none of it was planned, and I don't even remember what was said, but somebody this morning went, oh my God, I loved that sort of improv you and Mac did. And somebody was like, oh, what happened? And I was like, I don't even remember. Know. It was just
in the moment.
It was in the moment, and the audience was feeding off of us and we were feeding off of them, and it's not nothing was scripted. It was just, we were just sort of making each other laugh.
Yeah.
And it was this awesome moment that I'll treasure forever, but it was, you can't even retell it because nothing really happened, You
had to be there, quite literally.
You really had to be there.
Yeah.
I don't know, he read it funny. There was just nothing,
There was something,
It was energy as opposed to something tangible.
Yeah. Well, listen, I want to thank you very much. Speaking of something that was in the moment and tangible, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's been something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I think when we last talked somewhere, said, well, when I'm out in New York, sometime I'll have a chance to, because I've not been to the Speakeasy Magik. I'd like to see that, but also get a chance to come and chat with you. And I was just out there a few weeks ago and stayed over at Michael Chout's house, but I was kind of in and out just for the night, and wasn't able to come out. But anyhow, so glad we had a chance.
Yes,
and thank you for
I'm
your
so
time.
glad we did this. Thank you for having me.
So the name of my podcast is called The Magic Word Podcast, and I always like to close by asking what it is that's important in your life. What is it that is like your mantra that you live by, or your magic word or phrase? Or
you've sort of put me in a tough position right now, because I'm sure that a lot of people say really profound things in this moment, and what I want to say is my pug is my pug.
Is what
is my
really gives you joy.
She's a baby. Her name is Kiwi, and she's 3 years old, and she's my whole world, and
Can hardly wait each day to get back to her.
I can't wait every second to get back to her. Yes.
Wow.
She's my little best buddy, and I get to bring her sometimes to gigs.
And what's her name?
Kiwi.
Kiwi.
And she's the most beautiful girl on planet Earth who ever lived.
And how old?
She's 3. She turned 3 this summer. We had a really nice birthday party for her. So while I don't have a profound thing, be yourself, I guess.
Okay, well, whatever, but that's fine.
Follow your dreams, but also I love my dog a lot.
If you can't be with the dog, you love the one you're with. No,
be with the dog. There's no alternative.
Be with the dog you love.
Be with the dog you love, and don't try to please everybody.
Yeah. Well, and you've been pleasing a lot of people for a lot of years, and you're such a young lady. You got a long way to go, and with a good career ahead of you. I wish you nothing but the best of luck.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
It's been a great time. Thanks very much for your time.
Thanks.
So for the Magic Word Podcast, that was Rachel Wax. This is Scotty out. Delightful, 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 and fun, fun, fun. Thank you very much, Rachel. That was just a blast to sit down and chat with you, and I appreciate you being so open, candid, and honest there as we were talking. Great stories and advice, and I hope all the listeners enjoyed that as much as I did. Well, next week we get into our number 950th episode, and as I normally do, every 50 episodes try to feature someone who is very well known within our magic world and community, whether it's in the U.S. or from abroad. And this particular person, although lives within the U.S., is well known throughout the international magic community. And if you subscribe to our pod letter, you'll know who it is. I tell you, I'll just tell you right now, I'm just so excited. And our guest next week is going to be none other than Jeff McBride. That's right, the master magician from the Mystery School in Las Vegas, Mr. Jeff McBride. I am so excited to finally get a chance to sit down with him. Actually, we sat down in 2 separate sessions in order to get this particular podcast done and then put them together. So I know you're going to enjoy it. And I hope that you enjoyed this week's episode as well. And please keep in touch if you want to send us some sort of a message as to who you would like to hear on one of these upcoming podcasts. I do have kind of a little bit different kind of program or an app that is on the website at themagicwordpodcast.com. You don't have to download anything. It's called SpeakPipe, and all you have to do is to tap that, and you can record a message, and it will get just emails to me, and then I can get back with you. And if it's something that perhaps is just a compliment that you have about the podcast, then I'd be glad to share that with the rest of the listeners. If it's something that's more personal or a suggestion on who you would like to hear coming in the future episode, then I will just keep that to myself. But please use SpeakPipe if you wish. That's on the website there at themagicwordpodcast.com. So until next week, stay well, get books, and remember not to try to please everybody, but love your dog. This is Scotty out.